Yeah. Good afternoon, students. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, our class is from 2 to 3, right? According to the timetable, it is 3 to 4. But one of your friend has just called me and informed me this. And yeah, we planned it in the last, uh, earlier only, but unfortunate, I forgot that. I wrote it in a book. And one fellow called me and said that that fellow told me that I have given absent in the last class also. No, last Wednesday, 3rd of May, I have given present attendance to those who were there in the class, and absentees for only absentees. So that's a mistake. He should get it corrected. And what we discussed is importance of environment is completed on 3rd of May, last Wednesday.
Sir, sir,
Yeah, please.
absent given to all of us on April 29th, sir.
April 29th.
Yes, sir.
April.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me check that. Mm, April 29th. 29th April. No, 29th April is what? ఒక్క నిమిషం ఉండండి చెప్తాను. 29th April is Thursday, right? You have a class on Thursday also. Okay. What's the scope? Mechanical. Acha, acha. 29th April, there is no class. Class numbers, mechanical 2. చూడాలి ఒక్క నిమిషం. One class you have on Wednesday and another class is on Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday, right? So April 29th, Thursday, I gave you attendance. Yeah, Thursday, that is 3 to 4, right? Class is from 3 to 4 or 2 to 3? April 29th or whatever. Thursday, you have class from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4?
3 to 4, sir.
3 to 4. 3 to 4 మరి నేను ఎందుకు క్లాస్ అబ్సెంట్ చేశాను?
అందరు జాయిన్ అయ్యారు సార్ బిఫోర్ డేనే మేము చూసాం సార్.
అవునా?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
right. So maybe it's my mistake because it is not even written in my book. I maintain a notebook wherein I will put all attendance and what I have discussed, daily routine work I will write in that. And in this, there is no class on 29th of April. Maybe some. Okay, then. So no problem. I will compensate the class some other day and that attendance will be given, right? So it will be nullified. I will take the class extra 1 hour and I will give attendance on that day. So that day's attendance and class will be compensated. Okay. So now that is clear. We'll go back to our session. I hope everyone is fine and safe. Let us start. We discussed about importance of environment is completed. Okay, right. Okay. Yeah. Share the screen. Done. Yeah. So I will just brush up what we discussed right from the starting. So this is what our syllabus, our topics, what we discussed earlier: environment science syllabus, course objectives, outcomes, then definition, scope and importance, need for public awareness. In this we have defined, definition was like the components of the environment containing present in atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, biosphere. Atmosphere, we discussed these layers of atmosphere. These are all not part of your curriculum, but to have a good concept, okay, command over the topic or subject, discussed all these things: layers of atmosphere, then stratosphere, how does ozone forms, meteorite, mesosphere, then different layers, how they can be identified by difference in the temperature, then hydrosphere, different water resources. All the water resources in the environment is called as hydrosphere, like surface, ground, water vapor, and biological cell water, and glaciers also. Then lithosphere, that is 40 kilometers thickness present in the continental zone and 12 kilometers thickness present in the oceanic floor, right? And the benefits of lithosphere, like we discussed, what energy resources, water resources, minerals, nutrients, agriculture, base for construction, transportation, right? All that we food, water, it holds water, all that we discussed about, and even waste, minimization of waste, like decomposition, all that we discussed regarding benefits of lithosphere. And then all that atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere combinedly called as biosphere, which is nothing but environment. All these four components comprise are known as environment. We discussed that. And then the scope and importance, right? Scope, we discussed it as a multidisciplinary subject. Multidisciplinary means it is applicable to everyone and should be studied by everyone, right? It is needed for everyone and by everyone. So this is what we discussed. And then importance of environment science, I have explained it with two statements, that is impact of humans on environment and impact of environment on humans, that is reverse reaction, with a pictorial representation, that is impact of humans on environment, all the pollution and disturbance or detrimental impacts what we are making to environment, and it gives an equal and opposite reaction which will have a detrimental impact to the humans like impact of environment on humans: soil, water, air pollution, then drying or exhaustion of depletion of water, or drying up of oceans, seas, and rivers and lakes and ponds and streams. In some areas, drought condition, and other areas, excess water, and even contamination of food and other food materials causing diseases, and even the environment has got contaminated. This is all what we discussed. And next topic what we need to discuss is need for public awareness. We will start it today. If you have any doubts, any other doubts also, you can raise. I will give an answer for that. I'm ready to give an answer for that if you have any doubts, or else we'll continue, right? So need for public awareness. What does need for public awareness means? What is awareness, first of all? Awareness means what? Anyone? Students, are you there with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Awareness ante entama? Awareness ante giving knowledge about a particular issue or a particular theme or object, right, is called making it known to everybody or a group of people is called as awareness. Need for public awareness. Public means the people living in the society, in the environment, right? And the need for public awareness means what is the need? I mean, is it needed? Why? And how we can spread awareness, why it is needed, right? So that is what. So why this environmental knowledge has to be acquired by everyone? We discuss this under the scope, that is since everyone is a part of environment and everyone's activities should benefit the society or benefit that environment, or it should not be detrimental to the environment. It should be eco-friendly, right? Whether the people may be any field of science or any discipline they are studying, or even they are illiterate, they are not studying, or they're studying, whatever be the people or whatever be their profession, right? If they are working something against the environment, right, if their activities are polluting the environment, definitely it will harm all the people in the environment. It will not be restricted to those who are polluting the environment, right? Pollution will be done by a couple of people, but uh, its impact will be there on the everybody in equally, just like what we are facing now. The COVID virus is being generated in the China, but it is been affecting all the people in the world, right? It is not only affecting the people who generated that, but it is affecting everybody. Same thing is common for environment, right? So that is why everybody should know and understand about the problems and benefits of environment, right? So how can we know that, and why we need to know that? Because there is a problem in the environment, and to find out that problem we need to find out a solution. We need to first understand the problem and then search for a solution. And what is that solution? Solution is nothing but maintaining the good quality of environment, ultimately to maintain our health in good condition, right? So that is why we need to generate awareness about environment, and how, when we need to study, when we need to do it. We need to do it. Can we do it after 10 years or a decade or 2 decades? Shall we still relax and say we have enough time to maintain or clean the environment or take care of the environment or protect the environment? No, we need to do it now itself. Why? Because already, people say that there's a lot of environment has got affected, and even we know that Delhi, under the top 10 cities, highly polluted cities in the world, Delhi is one, right? The people are suffering there for air pollution every year. In the winter there will be huge air pollution impacts. Even in the January, after the Deepavali, right, there is a problem over there. And even in the winter, because of this fog formation, smog, right, there is a problem of air pollution in the Delhi and even many other places, and many other problems, right? So, and one more thing is, recently the WHO, UN, United given a statement in a magazine, that scientific journal, that if we don't conserve and protect the forest resources in the next 10 to 20 years, many of the living beings, that is wild animals, are going to get extinct, like tiger, lion, elephant, all these, many of them. So in the future we don't find these animals alive. We need to see them only in photos and pictures, right? Videos. So, shall we wait till that time comes where the animals are getting extinct, or shall we react now? It is now we need to react. Now we need to start protecting the environment and taking care of the environment. If it is not now, it will be never, right? Now or never. And how we can do this? Need for public awareness. How we can spread awareness about environment? There are certain programs, right? There are programs which are being implemented in the society to spread awareness, and these programs have a list of programs. But first I want to give a chance to you people to say some answers. The best one is the easier one, at least one I expect surely from you people. What is the mode or method of spreading awareness about environmental science in the society to each and every one? Come on, students. One thing, it should be very sure you should be. Hare. Okay, then what we are doing now, What subject we are dealing with? Hello, students, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
what subject is this?
Environmental science.
Environmental science. Environmental science, right? So why you people are studying this subject? Because it is incorporated in your curriculum. Your EC, is it a part of your career? No, it is not part of career. Then why you are studying it? It is not for the career you are studying it. It is for life you are studying it, right? Why? Because you need to know what is environment, what our activities are going, causing impact on the environment, whether good or adverse impact, and what we can do, and how we should treat with the environment, how we should live with the environment, right? To know that you people are given this subject and you are asked to study this, it's a mandatory course. It is not for your career but for your life, right? To have a healthy and happy life, we need to study this subject. So the first step of spreading awareness is educating people about this subject. That is awareness. How people are being educated. You people are being educated. How? Incorporating this as a part of your curriculum, right? The subject is given in your curriculum and made it mandatory to study and complete and get clear the course, right? So curriculum is one thing. And then you got any other ideas? Okay, after 2 days, 5th of June, what is there?
Environmental day.
Right, my dear, Environmental Day. Today is Telangana Statehood Day, right? Telangana State Formation Day. So similarly, 5th June is Environment Day. So why? What is that? Environment Day means what? We greet each other, right? People spread or send a message saying, happy Environment Day and save environment. Please take care of environment, or any fact about environmental degradation or any betterment of the environment will be sent, or a slogan or a proverb will be sent. What they are doing, they are just passing a message from person to person, forwarding a message from person to person. So what is that? It is also nothing but education, right? When every people are getting educated, how? Through social media, right? Social media like television, radios, newspaper, magazine, right? Monthly magazine, fortnight magazine, Twitter, Facebook, chat. What is that? WhatsApp, all this, Snapchat, all these are the modes of spreading awareness, which is called as social media. And then we have few more like seminars, webinars, conferences, workshops, right? The institutions organizations or colleges and schools organize the seminars and conduct the seminars to spread awareness about this. And then NGOs and eco clubs, green belts, all that will also, these are non-government organizations. They, people like you students, come on their own and make a group and work towards environment, like they have a green drive or a clean drive or eco drive, right? Or eco run, so on and so forth, educating people and making aware about environment. Then illiterate people can be educated, not only the studies, these conferences and all that can be educated by for literate people, but illiterate people can also be educated by folks and public gatherings or public meetings and even documentaries. And then one more thing is there, my dear, I would like to get the answer from you people. One thing, even this World Environment Day or Water Day, 22nd March, right? World Water Day, all these are a day will be fixed so that people will speak about the topic on that day, and that is how the awareness program will be done, or awareness of that particular issue will be generated, right? So that is what. And one more thing is there, you people will answer that. Is there anything, any activity which all the countries of the world will participate in, that such kind of activities? Is there any activity like that? Yeah, sports activity is there. What do we call that? It is called Olympics, right? All the world, all the countries of the world, or many countries of the world will participate in a sports activity. Are you sure all the countries will participate, or only many countries? Because some countries may not be interested to participate. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, my dear. So, do we have any issue where surely all the countries will participate? Even in the sport, some countries will not participate because they may not have any food, proper food, water, and if you ask them to play games, they will kick us. They'll say, fill our tummy, then we will start playing. Right? The poor nations are there which don't want to play, but they are struggling to get the proper food and water. So, some countries will not play the Olympics, but there is one issue where all the countries will unite together and meet and discuss about environment every year. What is that conference called? Okay, it is called World Summit, right? And it is also named as COP. COP 11, COP 12, COP 24, 25, 26 is the current one, right? Planned in 2020, but due to COVID, it is postponed and it is going to hell in this November, I guess. Okay, November of 2021, people are planning to meet. So that is COP means Conference of Parties. All the world country people, all the countries of the world will participate in that volunteeringly, right? It is not mandatory. They come on their own to discuss issues regarding the environment, and there the protocols will be taken, alliances will be made, right? Like Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, or carbon emission, cut off carbon emission, carbon footprint, all that discussions will be held and people will make the agreements over there, all the country people, right? So that is a world summit which occurs every year. All the countries of the world will meet together. 193 countries of UN registered, and even 196 other three countries will also come. UN non-registered countries can also participate in that, right? So that does that kind of a meeting or a world summit held in our country at any time in the past? Yes or no? Any guesses? Yes is the answer. If yes, in which state it would have been held? Capital state?
Delhi.
Delhi? No, it held in Hyderabad, my dear. What was that conference? It was biodiversity conference, biodiversity complex near High Tech City is there, right? So that one world summit occurred in our country also, in our state, in our city, Hyderabad. To commemorate that only, they have named that biodiversity complex. So this is what need for public awareness and how public awareness can be generated. And next topic is use and overutilization of surface and groundwater. Simple topic, easy topic. I'll wind it off. Right. Use and overutilization of surface and groundwater. Water, right? Groundwater and surface water. What is this? Water is a resource. Then what is surface water? Surface water resources are oceans, seas, rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds are surface water resources. Similarly, groundwater means
Borewells.
very good, my dear. Aquifers and aqueduct, right? Aquifer or aqueduct, it may be a confined or unconfined, and we take that water from the ground as by boring a hole called as a bore well, or in olden days people used to have a open well, isn't it? చేదుడు బావులు అంటారు కదా, ఓపెన్ వెల్. అది చేదుడు బాయి అంటే ఓపెన్ వెల్, బోర్ వెల్ అంటే బోర్ బాయి, రైట్? So that is groundwater. And one more thing is also there in groundwater, that is soil moisture. The groundwater makes that soil to be moist, humid. That is also part of groundwater, right? So out of the water resources, surface and groundwater, we discuss this only, surface and ground, because they are the freshwater bodies, and we depend on them, right? And how the water comes into this freshwater body like surface? We discussed in hydrosphere, it is the rainwater, right? Rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds. How do they fill the water? Due to the rain. And what is the maximum amount of water in the rain? Through the evapotranspiration. That is, ocean and sea evaporated water will be the maximum, right? So that is what surface and surface water. And how does the groundwater will form? Also same thing, that is rainwater which infiltrates or percolates or seepages into the ground will form the groundwater, and it increases the groundwater table, right? So these are surface and groundwater. Now coming to use and overutilization. Why we are discussing only surface and groundwater? Because we depend on those sources for our daily, usages, right? So that is use and overutilization. What does overutilization means? Oops. Yeah, anyone? Can anyone answer what is overutilization means?
Using unnecessarily.
Okay.
Using more than what we need.
Excess of water, right? Washing excess of water or using excess of water. When we use excess of water, when we feel to use excess, or when we tend to use excess water, when we have any resource more than the required quantity, we feel like using more than the required quantity, isn't it? If we have a limited quantity, right? If we have a petrol, it's a limited quantity, right? What people do, they use it very manageably, right? They use it managementally, right? So even other things like milk or oil or anything, if we have it in the limited quantity and we buy in the market, then we use it very appropriately, isn't it? Whereas water, it is a free of cost, it is available freely in the nature, so we tend to waste it, right? We feel like that's human psychology. So sure, we are using, we get water free of cost. మనకి ట్యాప్ వాటర్ వస్తుంది కదా, సర్ఫేస్ వాటర్ మనకి. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ గో విత్ ద నెక్స్ట్, అది మళ్ళీ తర్వాత డిస్కస్ చేద్దాము. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఓవర్ యూటిలైజేషన్, రైట్? వెన్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఎనీథింగ్ మోర్ దెన్ ద రిక్వైర్డ్ క్వాంటిటీ abundantly, surplusly, we tend to waste that or over usage. So what does over usage means? It means using more than the required quantity. So can we call overusage only? We can sometimes call it as wastage of water also. So it is nothing but, overusage is nothing but diplomatic way of saying wastage of water. So sometimes we waste water. Waste in the sense, we know we are wasting it intentionally, we do that. That is called as wastage of water. Sometimes we can't control that overusage. We can't, minimize it. So we, in our work, it goes waste. That is called as overusage of water, overutilization of water, right? So where do we need this water usage? Do we need this water to be used every day? Or definitely it is needed for us. Absolutely true. Why? Because we cannot live 3 days, more than 3 days without water. So it is needed for us. For what purpose? Like drinking, consumption, cooking, washing, cleaning, bathing, flushing the toilets, cleaning the floor, gardening, all this household work, we need good amount of water. And right from getting up out of the bed in the morning till we go to sleep, we use water all the time. For every activity we need water. Nowadays we need water for more, to wash our hands, to keep ourselves sanitized or well clean, hygienic, right? So what do we call all that household works need of water? It is called domestic usage of water. Is that the only requirement we have for the water? Only domestic need is there? Inka vere uses unnaya? Yes, even industries need water. Only domestic and industries? No, even food
Agriculture.
has to be agriculture. Very good, my dear. Agriculture also water is needed. Only these three. Still anything else is there? Recently added one more thing, part not part of our curriculum, or we should not officially discuss that. Not off the record. Right? What is that? It's a commercial usage of water. Commercial sector. Commercial sector అంటే ఏంటి? Mineral water bottles, right? Packaged mineral water business. It's $1 million business throughout the world. You go to any corner of the world, you will find a water bottle, right? I mean, water is a natural product and people are selling it. Okay, why I'm discussing this selling it, I will come back to this domestic usage, right? So I say we are wasting water at domestic level or not. Before that, how do we get water for our domestic requirement? మనకి ఎట్లా వస్తుంది, ఎటు నుంచి వస్తుంది వాటర్? Municipal tap, isn't it? We get municipal tap water. What is the source of that municipal tap water?
Rivers.
Right, rivers, streams, lakes and ponds, right? All that can be used for municipal people will draw that water, then they will treat and they will pump it to our houses, right? So is it free of cost water or we pay the bill for the water?
We pay, sir.
We pay the bill, right? I mean, yes, absolutely, we pay. How much? I know, maybe you know or don't know, but I know it. We pay around 150 to 200 per month, isn't it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
అవునమ్మా, అడగండి, మీ పేరెంట్స్ కూడా చెప్తారు. 150 to 200 per month we will pay, right? So how many liters of water we will get? In Hyderabad we get water alternative day. So how many liters a day? What we will fill? I mean, when the tap comes, tap water starts in our house, we will fill a overhead tank, then a sump and some of the vessels, right, pots in the house, kitchen. So it may go around more than 1,000 liters, isn't it? It should be more than 1,000 liters for sure for a family. So 15 times in a month, so it will be more than 15,000 liters. How much we are paying? 200 rupees. So what could be the cost of 1 liter? Negligible, isn't it? Yes or no? Somebody just tell me yes or no.
Yes.
Yes, very good. And how much money you pay for a liter of water when you buy outside in the market?
20 rupees.
20 to 22 rupees, right? ఇంకా విరాట్ కోహ్లీ తాగేదైతే 300 రూపీస్ కూడా. మీరు కూడా తాగుతుండొచ్చు ఎవరో ఒకరు. థౌజండ్స్ ఈ మధ్య పెరిగిందేమో కోవిడ్ వల్ల. ఓకే, రైట్. సో ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ దట్ మచ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్. సో that is when we are buying it, minimum quality water when we buy in the market, it is 20 rupees per liter, and while we are giving to the government, it is negligible amount. We are buying 200 rupees kit 15,000 liters, 20 rupees kit 1 liter. Look at the comparison. So do you think that water is so cheap that government is selling it only 200 rupees per 15 to 20,000 liters? No, absolutely no. That is why we say water is given free of cost, because it is our fundamental right to have potable water to be supplied by the government, right? So water is free. Mar deniki bill kadtunnaru meeru? The bill what you are paying is for treatment. అందుకే చెప్పాను, వాటర్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుందంటే river or streams, lakes, ponds. Government will treat that water and pump it. For treatment and pumping, energy is needed. Energy pumping, treatment cost is what we are paying. We are not paying the cost of water. We are paying only for the treatment and pumping the water to our house. That is 200 rupees, negligible amount. So that is why it is sure that we are getting water free of cost from municipal authorities. And is that water enough for us to satisfy our daily needs? No, sometimes we feel shortage of water, so then we go with the bore water, and every house has got a bore well, right? సో బోర్వెల్ ఉంది, బోర్ వాటర్ కూడా యూస్ చేస్తుంటాం మనం రెగ్యులర్గా. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్, సో వీఆర్ పేయింగ్. దానికి ఇంకో లాజికల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తా నేను. మీన్ వాటర్ ఈజ్ ఫ్రీ ఆఫ్ కాస్ట్ వస్తుంది గవర్నమెంట్ నుంచి అనడానికి సింపుల్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లాజికల్ ఈజ్, when you buy the water bottle in the market 20 rupees per liter and you start drinking it outside, you will not complete the whole bottle water and still some water is left. What you will do, you will throw the bottle or you will keep it with you? We will keep it with us till we are out. We will keep that, hold the water bottle in our bag or hand, and after coming home we will throw that in the dustbin still with the water in the bottle. No my dear, we will never throw. This is our psychology, I am explaining it, right? We will keep it in the house and at least we try to drink it. If not, if couple of days has passed, we will put that water in the pot, plants or aquarium, but never throw it. Why? Because we bought it, we spend money on that. Similarly, if you take a glass of water from the pot in your kitchen and you drink, not completed all the water, still some water is left in the glass, what you will do? You'll do the same thing, like put it in the pot or put it in the aquarium. Maybe few people do that, but some people, even I, sometimes if it is small quantity, I will throw it in the sink. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, I am sure. Yes my dear, నేను మనం అందరం ఇక్కడే ఉంటాం కదా, that is our daily life routine. How do we live, living habits, isn't it? So that is our psychology. When we buy the water in the market, we will never like to throw it, waste it, right? So we at least put it in the pot. But when we are getting it free of cost in surplus amount, we will drink and we will throw, because there is still a lot of water in the pot. Small quantity, we will put it in the sink. That is how I can surely say yes, the government municipal tap water is free of cost. Now coming to usage of water at domestic level. First one, right? Use. What is the use? The drinking purpose we need to use, right? Drinking, cooking, washing, cleaning, toilet flushing, gardening and cleaning and maintaining hygienic at home and surroundings, we need to use water. Then what is overutilization means? Can anyone say this answer, please? Overutilization ante enti? Overutilization ante enti? Extra water, using extra water more than the requirement, like is called as overutilization. More than the requirement, right? Excess water more than the required quantity మనం యూజ్ చేస్తే దాన్ని ఓవర్ యూసేజ్ అంటారు. వాట్ ఈస్ ద రిక్వైర్డ్ క్వాంటిటీ? హౌ మచ్ వీ షుడ్ యూస్? కమ్ ఆన్, టెల్ మీ, హౌ మచ్ షుడ్ వీ యూస్? డూ వీ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ మెజర్మెంట్స్? ఉన్నాయా లేవా? ఎస్ ఆర్ నో?
yes, sir.
Yes, we have measurement. What do we call that? Per capita consumption. Well, how much is that? It is 135 liters per day per head is the per capita consumption of water in India according to BIS standards, that is Bureau of Indian Standards. Even the WHO standards are nearly same, right? So 135 liters is the standard value. We should use that amount. What it is for? 135 liters is for drinking, 3 to 5 liters, cooking, cleaning, washing, gardening, toilet flushing, bathing, everything includes about that 135 liters. And if you are using less than that 135 liters, it is well and good. అంటే వెల్ అండ్ గుడ్ ఎప్పుడు అవుతుంది అంటే, ఇఫ్ యూ సే దట్ ఓకే ఐ విల్ స్టాప్ టేకింగ్ బాత్ అండ్ ఐ విల్ కన్జర్వ్ నియర్లీ 20 to 30 liters ఆఫ్ వాటర్ అంటే మళ్ళీ స్కిన్ ఇన్ఫెక్షన్స్ వస్తాయి కదా, యూ విల్ సఫర్ విత్ స్కిన్ ఇన్ఫెక్షన్. దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఏ గుడ్ థింగ్, రైట్? వీ షుడ్ use it to satisfy our need of water completely, thoroughly, without getting compromised. And then if water is left still within 135 liters, that is management, best management of water management. But if you are using more than 135 liters per day, then it is called as overutilization of water or wastage of water. 135 is maximum what government thought is required. If you use slightly less than that is good. If you use more is a offense. That is, you are using more utilization, over utilization, or a wastage of water. Right. Where we waste the water at home. Do we waste water? Do you people waste the water at home? No, I guess, right? Yes, I got an answer. No. ఎవరో అన్నారు no అని నాకు వినిపించింది. Right. So no, absolutely no. I agree with you people. We will never waste the water at home. How water gets wasted? Maybe people say that okay, while brushing teeth, we will keep the tap running. No, we are not doing it. While shaving, while washing clothes, while washing or cleaning vessels, right, utensils, right, and even such things we do. So where water is getting wasted nowadays, nobody does that because we are aware since long time the value of natural resources like water, and people have stopped doing it, I'm sure. But there are few activities I would like to make it bring it to the report. I mean, bring it to your notice, right? So put it on the record that few examples like taking shower bath or a tub bath instead of a bucket and mug water. So there a small amount or a large amount of water gets wasted because we don't have control over the quantity of water used. And then I mean, uh, pouring the water into the garden or a pots, right? We don't measure it correctly, and we put some water. Maybe sometimes it will be less or more in the pot, and if it is more, it gets drained from the drain holes of the pot, and that is overutilization. It is not wastage because we intentionally don't do that. But sometimes, like washing a vehicle with running the tap and running pipe and cleaning the floor, I have watched in the colonies, people do that. Maids or owners of the house, they switch on the bore and keep a pipe with the pressure pressed and clean the floor, right? Instead of sweeping, which is a very good exercise. They don't do that. And that is what I surely call wastage of water. And one more activity at domestic is leakages, right? Whenever there is a leakage of a pipe or a tap, the amount of water gets wasted over there because till we identify the leakage, it takes some time, and till we attend the job and call and treat that plumbing instrument or flaws, right? Some amount of water gets wasted. So that is how overutilization occurs at domestic level. Then industrial level. Yeah, one more thing. Do you have a class from 3 to 4 today? Students?
No, sir.
Acha, you don't have a class from 3 to 4. Okay, I will, I mean, I will not exactly close at 3 o'clock. I may take 5 more minutes. That's it. I am not going to compensate that class today because all of a sudden I should not do to interrupt your program, right? I will inform you some other time and compensate that class. అంటే ఖచ్చితంగా 3కి క్లోజ్ చేయకుండా అని చెప్తున్నాను. సో దట్ ఈస్ హౌ మీన్ వీ కెన్ కంట్రోల్ ద వేస్టేజ్ ఆఫ్ వాటర్ ఎట్ household level, use and over utilization of surface and groundwater. Industrial level, at industrial level, I mean, what is the use requirement of water in industries? Any industries like tanning, leather industries, paper and pulp industries, or tanning of wood industry, wood manufacturing, wood article manufacturing industries. Softening of wood will be done by soaking the wood in the water. Then metallurgical industries, ceramic industries, automobile industries, food processing units, beverages, pasteurization units. All these needs huge amount of water. Pharmaceutical industries, chemical industries, all these need huge amount of water. And where excess usage of water occurs, overutilization. One more thing is coolant. Water is used as a coolant in industries. Do you have any idea regarding that? Like pasteurization, boilers. Innana?
We use it in cars also. Cars.
Bio?
Car coolant.
I didn't get you. Your voice is not clear.
We use it in car cooling.
Right. Car cooling, right? Absolutely. Car cooling is a small thing. Very good. Coolant అందులో. And even this nuclear reactors which generate energy, nuclear energy, they has to be maintained with a proper temperature. And even the boilers and pasteurization units or distilleries or food processing units. Example నేను చెప్తాను. Milk for pasteurization, it has to be maintained at a temperature of 121 degrees centigrade for 15 minutes continuously. Right? How do they maintain it? If suddenly the temperature raises, increasing, they can heat up boilers, and that can raise the temperature. But decreasing suddenly, if it goes beyond 121 degrees centigrade, immediately they flush the water onto the surface of that boiler, so that water takes heat will be conducted to the water, and maintenance of temperature will be done. The water becomes hot. That is called as a coolant. Water is a free of cost, available in the nature, easier material, so that is why water is used. Now this is where water is used in industries, and if that water, hot water, if dumped in directly without reusing or recycling, so good amount of water is getting wasted or overutilized in the industries, and that water can be reused or recycled. Like hot water coming out of the coolants can be used for flushing the toilets or cleaning the floor. And even these tanning industries, say leather softening, leather will be soaked in the water, and then that water will be called wastewater and thrown. Instead of that, what are the waste impurities added to that water? The leather products like hair, blood, skin, all organic material that water can be used as per gardening purpose, and it gives good energy for the plants, right? Organic material. So in that way, if people recycle and reuse the water in industries, more amount of water can be controlled or reduced. Overutilization can be minimized over there, right? Then the third one is agriculture usage. What is the use of water in agriculture? Is there any use of water in agriculture? Yes. What do we call that? Irrigation, right? The crops, irrigation purpose, we need good amount of water. And not only agriculture, that is even maintenance of livestock, farming, dairy farming, right? And even the fish cultivation, all that also need huge amount of water in agriculture. Everything is called agriculture. And where is this overutilization of water occurs in agriculture? Does it occur? First thing is, we see often that farmers face a problem that less amount of water is available for farming, and they are burdened with buried under the depths of burden of debt, bank loans for boring of many holes, many bore wells in their agricultural land, and no drop of water comes, and they go for suicidal, right? Self-killing themselves. So where is the scope of overutilization when there is no water at all? And if the water is available, very less needed for the agriculture irrigation. Yeah, but still, yes, whenever the water is available, even at that time, the overutilization occurs because of the traditional methods of agricultural practices. That is traditional irrigation method. What is the traditional irrigation method? Traditional irrigation method. It is called flood irrigation system or furrow irrigation technique. ఎలా అవుతుంది? Flood irrigation or furrow irrigation technique. What is that? Flood irrigation or furrow irrigation technique? In the agricultural field, you might have observed plants or seeds are sowed at a elevated soil, just in a line, right? A continuous line. And between two elevated soils, there will be a furrow. There will be a lower line where water will be poured, right? And it is not continuously poured throughout the channel or a field. It is poured at one spot, and water is allowed to move through this channel, right? Irrigation channel within the field till the water reaches the last plant. ఎస్ ఆర్ నో? ఒక్కసారి ఎస్ ఆర్ నో చెప్పండి. అర్థమైతే ఎస్ అని, లేదంటే నేను మళ్ళీ చెప్తా.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Right, ma, right. So that is called as furrow irrigation or flood irrigation. That line canal is called as a furrows. So how we can say that water is getting wasted over there? Okay, I have a simple logical explanation. So when you put water in your house on the floor, like cemented floor or a marble or a granite or any other stone, when you put water, does it move vertically or it move horizontally? It goes horizontally, right? It will never move vertically downwards. It spreads on the floor, right? It remains till we clean that water. Whereas in the soil, on the ground, in the soil, if you pour a glass of water, will it spreads on the ground or it goes vertically downward? It goes vertically downward. The soil will soak that water. The water will get percolated, seepaged into the ground, right? So when we put water on the soil in the ground, the water will move faster downward rather than forward, isn't it? It moves vertically down very quickly rather than horizontally. So when it will start moving horizontally? When the subsoil is totally filled with the water, the void spaces, and it is totally damp and wet and saturated with the water, then only the water will move forward, right? So when we are putting water, the first water will go into the soil and then it is available with the plant, that is topsoil. The roots are there in the topsoil, but the water will directly go into the subsoil and then it will start absorbing till reaches the till roots, isn't it? So more liters of water goes into the soil, whereas few ml of water is needed by the plant. That is where the wastage of water is occurring in the flood irrigation or furrow irrigation technique. So what is the solution for this?
Drip irrigation.
Very good, my dear. Drip irrigation and sprinkle irrigation technique. What happens over there? The water falls drip by drip, that is drop by drop, and the drop falls on the top soil. Only the top soil is damp, and till the next drop comes, there is enough time for the plant root to absorb maximum amount of water from the drops which are fallen. Why? Because the water goes into the soil is very quickly, whereas the process of absorption of water by the plant root is very slow. It goes cell by cell in the plant phloem and xylem, right? Stem, cell by cell. That process is slow, whereas getting into the soil is a very quick process. So we need to give more time to the root. So the contact time between water and the root is increased by drip irrigation, whereas contact time between water and soil is more in flood and furrow irrigation technique, right? Only the topsoil is wet, until the next drops or sprinkles come, the plant can absorb more water out of that, and still it has got a time and a small amount of water is poured over there. That is how the overutilization can be minimized. And there are other techniques called as contour cropping, that is layering. The hill stations, the hills will be cut layer by layer elevations, higher to lower elevation, and the irrigation will be done from the top layer. So excess water will come to the lower layers, right? Ikkada ippudu plateaus lo kuda alage chestunaru. Madilu antaru, right? Oka madi height lo unte inko madi koncham takvalo untundi, lower elevated. Water is first put on the higher elevated field, muddy, and from there it will come, excess water will come to the lower elevated field, and then it goes to still lower, and that is how the water will be utilized properly, well managed. That is called as contour cropping. And then multi-cropping, growing multiple crops, like plants growing to a height of 2 to 3 feet, like tomatoes, brinjal, and even just lady's finger, cluster beans, or even climbers like ridge gourd, bottle gourd, or bitter gourd, or beans, legumes. All these plants which grow at a particular height, 1 to 2 feet, are grown. And beneath that, at the ground level, herbs and shrubs like spinach, mint or coriander or other leafy vegetables are grown, so that the total ground will be covered with the greenery and less evaporation will occur, and the humidity will be last for longer time in the soil, and all the area will be covered with greenery, so that all water in the soil will be utilized properly by the plants. This is called as a multi cropping or a multi cropping system. And then the another one is mulching. Mulching and it's an olden system, that is surrounding a tree trunk nearby any area, all the land will be covered with some material like leaf litter, fallen leaf, or jute fiber or coconut fiber covering, so that less exposure to the environment or sunlight and evaporation of the soil, water from the soil will be minimized, right? That is mulching. And the new technique of mulching is covering the field with a polythene cover or a nursery green mat, and then making holes in that polythene cover on the ground, laid on the ground, and sowing the seeds in that hole, and the plant will start growing from the hole. Surrounding area will be covered with the polythene cover, and minimizing the rate of evaporation and holding moisture for longer time, minimizing water requirement, excess water requirement, overutilization, right? So this is how use and overutilization of surface and groundwater for domestic, industrial, and agriculture sector will be done. But my question, coming back to the same thing, why we need to discuss about the surface and groundwater only? I said in the first starting, I will explain it later. Now it is the time. Why we have to discuss about use and overuse of surface and groundwater? Because it is a fresh water source useful for us, right? So what is the surface water source? I said it is the rainwater. So when we are getting rainwater, or do we get less amount of rain, so that we have scarcity of the surface water bodies? Surface water మనకు స్కేర్ ఉంది కాబట్టి బోర్ వాటర్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం, గ్రౌండ్ వాటర్. Surface water scarcity ఎందుకు ఉంది? Is it because we have less rainfall in our country? No. How much rainfall occurs in our country? Nearly 4,000 billion cubic meters of rainfall occurs in our country. Out of that, only 1,137 billion cubic meters is utilizable water. All remaining will go into the oceans, right? Nearly more than 2,000 or 2,800 liters of cubic meters, million cubic meters of water is going into the oceans, my dear. Why? Because we are unable to store that water, and out of that 690 BCM water is filled in the surface water bodies. Out of 4,000 billion cubic meters, only 690 billion cubic meters of water is filled in the surface water bodies, right? Surface water bodies. Why? And I mean, is it rainfall less? No, we have enough rainfall, but we are having less amount of stored water. Why? What is the reason? The reason, I have two reasons. One is, since long time these rivers, streams and lakes and rivers are drawing water, and along with the water, the dust material, soil particles will join, and they are getting filled and decreasing this water storing capacity, the debris, right? And second point is, many of the rivers and streams are converted into the lands. Like Musi River was very big, heavy, and now it is a small nala, and many of the lakes in our state and in our country have been converted into landforms and been sold out by the bureaucrats and politicians. So that is how the number of lakes and the quantity is decreasing. So water stored in the rivers, streams, lakes and ponds are very decreasing. So we need to increase that, and government is already doing that, like Mission Bhagiratha and Mission Kakatiya. They are excavating the rivers and removing the debris soil and putting it in the farms and increasing the water storing capacity. People are doing it, right? And one more thing is artificial impoundment. Reservoirs, like construction of dams, has to be done to store more rainwater, right? So 690 BMC should be increased, so that we don't feel shortage of water. And now, as we are falling shortage of water, people are depending on the bore water, that is groundwater, which is nothing but 447 billion cubic meters of water of rain annually goes into the ground, and people are dependent on that, and they are exhausting even that, depleting totally that. Why we are dependent on the groundwater? Because of less storage of surface water. Now coming to groundwater, many people, even in your house, I think everybody got a borewell and people regularly use that bore water also, right? But we should never do that. It is a future property, right? So what will happen when we are continuously using borewells? The groundwater table decreases and it will have a decline and depletion of groundwater, and will have a lot of problems like permanent dry up of these systems. And in our country, nearly 27 million bore wells have been used till now, and out of that, nearly half of the bore wells, 27 million lo half, has already got dried up. And why this many number of bore wells in our country? Because there is a shortage of surface water, and people will face different problems when we are using these bore wells, like drying up of wells will occur. Drying up of wells ante, when we totally take out all the water, the wells will dry, and again they will not get recharged easily. Enduku? I will give you a simple example. When we take out all the water from the borewell aquifer, కింద గ్రౌండ్ లో ఉన్న వాటర్ టోటల్ గా సక్అవుట్ చేసేస్తే no water will recharge easily. Why? Because that is dried, and there is no capillary action of water molecule over there. Simple example, if you have a wet surface on the flooring and you pour a glass of water on the wet surface, it will spread easily because of the water molecule layer available on the ground. If you put same water on a dry surface, it will move very slowly. That is the way. I mean, the capillary action is missing over there. So same thing occurs, and the recharge of groundwater in the aquifers which have got dried up will not occur, and some of the aquifers will completely dry up. When they completely dry, there will be an empty space in the ground where there was earlier water, and then the land would like to subsidize, I mean settle itself in that empty spaces and settle well. And for that, the land will try to slide down some of the earth material, which causes tremors and vibration, which is called as land subsidence, and results in earthquakes. And that is the only reason why the earthquakes will occur in Hyderabad or any other no earthquake zones, only because of over exploitation of groundwater. And then even when the borewells are dried, even the surrounding rivers, streams, lakes will also dry because of the drawing of water and drying up of these water due to excess sunlight. No groundwater means that soil will be very dry and it evaporates water very quickly, and even it causes change in the quality of water also. Due to excess salts, less water,
Hello,
more
sir.
salts, water becomes saline, and even increased pumping cost, because when we are drawing more water from the ground, we need to go very deep, nearly say 100 feet, 200, 500, 900, 1000 feet, and we need to draw water from there, and it imparts more energy requirement and more cost and more burden on the machinery also. And then the land subsidence, I said. So this we have completed, use and overutilization of water resources. I will close the session now. I have taken 15 minutes excess. Excuse me for that. So compensation is partly done, but still I will do the compensation some other time. Now allow me to take your attendance. Today is 2nd of June 21.